You were the original telepathy tapes?
I was the original. So this kid, we put him in one room, his mother in another room, and we gave her a book to read. Okay? And she's not reading it loudly. She's reading it mentally.
Listen up, Kai Dickens. That's how
Okay.
you do the experiment.
And there's the kid is in the other room, and he's not good at typing because he's autistic.
Yep.
And he's trying to punch the tape, the type, whatever, the computer, but he is typing what she is reading. So afterwards, I took him aside. Now he's grown up. This was when he was 5 or 6 years.
So you witnessed that. You witnessed a child doing remote viewing.
It's on YouTube.
It's
on YouTube. I took the whole thing. But then I asked this kid, I said, how do you do it? He says, I love my mother so much.
That's it.
I can get into her mind, then I know what she's thinking. And he was very simple about it. He said,
what is that? Tell us what does love mean in this context of telepathy? I have a theory, but I want yours.
It means non-local correlation or entanglement. Just like two particles, if you have two particles, let's call them Alice and Joe, and they're doing a tango together and they're in love. And then Joe goes off, one direction in the Milky Way galaxy, she goes off. But every time Joe moves in a certain way, she moves in a certain way. And there's no distance between them. It's immediate. They're one. That oneness is love. Okay, so Rabindranath Tagore, an Indian philosopher, sage, poet, he said, love is not a sentiment. It's the ultimate truth at the heart of creation. The ultimate truth, where subject and object are one, where lover and beloved are one, where seer and scenery are one, at the heart of creation. 3 years ago, the Nobel Prize went to entanglement of particles. But what I'm saying is, this thing that we call love, ultimately, is the entanglement of souls. And, it's a level of love that is way beyond anybody can do. But if you have that level of love, not just for a human being, for a pet. Oh, now there are many studies. Rupert Sheldrake.
That's right. We keep talking about him.
The dog knows what the dog companion or owner is doing.
When they're going to come home. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even parrots. There's a study on a parrot in Kisi who can read minds. So, the fact is, and in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, chapter 3 is devoted to supernormal abilities, which are the yogi, who's the original yogi of the Raj Yoga. He says that these are distractions, but they do prove that consciousness is a field of infinite possibilities. I'm putting out a course on that in 2 months, by the way, online, on how to harness psychic abilities. I don't like the word psychic.
It has a bad rap.
Yeah, it has so non-local, dormant human potentials.
It's not as catchy, but you're Deepak Chopra. You can do what you want.
It's the right word. Non-local correlation or entanglement. But yeah, it's
just hot tip.
Psychic abilities.
If you want her to punch up your copy, she's available after the show.
Well, the way that we've been sort of organizing, our thoughts. We talk a lot about the intersection of science and spirituality, and it's sort of my job as the local scientist to try and explain some of these things in terms of the possibilities, that you don't just have to take that leap and say, because I believe in magic and fairies, that there's a way to understand this in terms of physics, in terms of consciousness and philosophy.
Before you have a thought is in superposition with every other thought. Your next thought is uncertain. Thoughts take leaps of imagination, quantum leaps they move from here to here without going through this. Everything about consciousness we know follows the principles of quantum mechanics. Everything.
I want to zoom in a little bit on love, because I also wanted to zoom in on God. And for many people, God is love. For many people who have transcendental experiences, psychedelic experiences, they have an overwhelming and sometimes even foreign to them notion that there is something, right? There's something bigger.
And part of something that's
correct,
infinite.
Yeah. And that infiniteness is a loving, infinite presence.
Correct.
So while you can have entanglement with hate, or you could have a child able to read the mind of someone that they hate, there's something about love, right? And this
Yeah,
sort of
hate is a cry for love. That's all it is. So hate is a desperate cry for love.
I love that. The mystical notion that, I was taught, and it's a Jewish mystical thought, is that our original creation by God was out of love, and that every relationship that we have as humans is in some way trying to get back to that source.
To that source.
And that if
Ein Sof.
right, there's no end to it. It's an infinite, unknowable love. But when I learned about it, it sounded it has a fluffiness to it, right? And the notion that the way that it's described is that if God stops thinking about us for a second, we cease to exist. That our existence and our awareness is because of a God consciousness.
You are in God's dream.
Right. Yes.
You're in God's dream.
So
God is dreaming you right now.
Can you talk a little bit about what it means to think of love, not just as an interpersonal love, but as a presence and a source of our existence?
So there's a book called A General Theory of Love by a neuroscientist in San Francisco. So what they say, these are neuroscientists. So when two people are in a loving relationship, or it doesn't have to be two people, it can be a dog or whatever, but there's a healer and a healee. And there's this experience going on of healing. If the healer lovingly pays attention to the patient or client, then there's something called, and you would know this, limbic resonance that happens. The emotional brain of the two start to resonate together. Then the healer's limbic, so that's level 1, limbic resonance. Second level is the healer starts to regulate the patient's nervous system, neural networks, just by loving attention.
Even without touching them.
Without touching them. Attention, which means listening. Affection, which means I care. Appreciation, you're unique. A unique timeline of the universe. And an acceptance. I love you irrespective of who you are. Attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance. So then limbic resonance turns into limbic regulation. The neural networks start to rewire, and the last stage is limbic revision. Your brain changes. And
You've just described healing.
Healing.
You've described energetic healing. You've explained the reason why healers claim that they can talk to you on the phone.
Correct.
And heal you.
Yes. And that's non-local correlation.
You've done your work for the day. You can go home.
Entanglement. Thank you. Goodbye.
Again, if I'm summarizing, we just said telepathy is real, that
non-local correlation is real, yes.
Non-local correlation. Yeah. Do you have something against the word telepathy? Do you feel like it's...
No, I think it's good.